Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be reviewing a fairly new game called Bugsnax, which came out in late 2020 for PlayStation 5 and was re-released for other gaming platforms in April of this year. I first discovered Bugsnax on the featured page of Steam when I was browsing new games. I thought it looked pretty cool, so I decided to give it a go, and at first I just assumed it was going to be a fairly basic kids game that would keep me entertained for a few weeks, but I was actually pretty surprised at the amount of depth the characters and storyline had, the variation of the gameplay, and how this game could be enjoyed by anyone of any age. In this video I will be covering the gameplay, the storyline and plot, the graphics, DLC and the future of the game, such as possible sequels, and give my final thoughts on the game, as well as giving my opinion on parts of the game I enjoyed and what could have been improved. I'm always open to any feedback or opinions you have. If you want to comment them down below, or alternatively you can DM me on Instagram at the Irish Sponge. So let's get into it. The game itself is single player and in the third person. It is primarily an adventure game with some small role-playing elements from your interactions with the other characters in the game. The characters are surprisingly very human in their dialogue and interactions, considering the simple nature of this game. You are playing a character who is a journalist, I believe. You aren't actually given a name in the game, and you have been assigned to investigate strange creatures called Bugsnax who inhabit Snacktooth Island, and they are half food, half bugs. I'll go more into the context and background of the game later on in the video, but for now I will just be covering the actual gameplay. The majority of the gameplay revolves around you capturing the different species of the Bugsnax. There's around 100 different types in the different biomes, each with their own behaviours, movement patterns and methods to capture. Most of the different types of Bugsnax are relatively straightforward to capture, and you can come across different items within the game, such as a tripwire or a slingshot, to help you capture them. Some of the Bugsnax require more sophisticated methods in order to capture them, such as using more than one tool or finding out their different tastes and movement activity. Snaxburg is essentially the main base of operations for your character, and you can access the rest of the island from here. As you progress through the story, you meet the original residents of the island, who are grumpuses. They can be found all over the island, and one of the main objectives of the game, on top of capturing the Bugsnax, is to manage to convince them to return back to Snaxburg. A Grumpus will begin requesting assistance from the player once they have returned to Snaxburg in the form of side quests that, when they are completed, reveal more about the Grumpus' motivations and background. These side quests often require the player to collect specific Bugsnax and feed them to the Grumpuses, which modify different body parts based on the Bugsnax they eat. With the Snacktivator device, which the player gets during the game, they may more completely transform each Grumpus's appearance, including choosing which body parts to modify. That's pretty much everything regarding gameplay. I'm not ignoring the major update that took place in April that added a lot of extra new content. I will address this in the DLC section of this video. Mild spoilers ahead in this section, so feel free to skip this part if you wish. The world of Bugsnax is occupied by Grumpuses, who are fuzzy humanoids that resemble Muppets. The game takes place on Snacktooth Island, an enigmatic place where only creatures known as Bugsnax, which are half bug and half snack, live. Around the island are the skeletal remains and the remnants of an ancient Grumpus civilization. Disgraced archaeologist Elizabeth Lisbird Megafig leads an exploration party to the island to research the Bugsnax after learning of their presence. She establishes the improvised town of Snaxburg as a base of operations before mysteriously disappearing. The small nearby island of Broken Tooth becomes playable later in the game as part of the Isle of Bugsnax patch. The player is in charge of an anonymous newspaper writer who accepts Lisbird's invitation to travel to Snacktooth Island. Clumbernut Clumby Filbo Fiddlepie, the self-proclaimed mayor of Snaxburg, who'd been given control by Lisbird before she departed, is helping the journalist. The journalist encounters a number of additional Grumpuses with equally goofy names who travelled with Lisbird during the arc of the campaign. Okay, so Wampus Troubleham, an obstinate sauce grower, Beffica Winklesnoot, a photographer, Grample Gigglefunny, a farmer who treats Bugsnax as pets rather than food, Wiggle Wigglebottom, a failed musician, and Triffany Lottablog, Wampus' emotionally distant archaeologist's wife searching her grandmother's sudden departure. The names of the people in this game have like the same energy as like Quandale Dingle, you know them, like Goofy on memes, if you know what I mean. So anyway, yeah, you'll meet more of these characters as you progress through the story. Okay, so although this probably isn't the best game to showcase the PS5's next-gen graphics, it is still a very impressive game visually. Everything is very clear and well laid out. Everything from the sky to the environment and the characters are beautifully presented. Probably the only issue I might have with the graphics will be that I feel some of the characters' actions could be more realistic. For example, the manner in which the characters consume the Bugsnax and generally interact with their environment is not very lifelike. Everything looks as though it either fades away or nothing quite moves to demonstrate the reaction of the things acting together, even though it clearly depicts the food being consumed or that they're coming into touch with the items. However, this is honestly just me nitpicking on something negligible that the game could have done better, but overall the game's graphics are still very appealing and unique and just very well done. Just going back to the major update that I mentioned earlier, the game received a free major update in April 2022 that introduced a new location to explore and another 12 Bugsnax to find, bringing the total to 112. The Bugsnax in this region are larger than usual, therefore in order to capture them, special shrink spice must be used. The major side quest that leads to the new place is completed during the main plot. The update also included 25 hats that could be gathered and put on the Bugsnax the player captured, the ability to quick travel between locations, and a house for the protagonist in Snacksburg that could be furnished with items obtained from other grumpuses. Definitely kudos to the developers who majorly updated the game for free rather than release it separately as an overpriced DLC. As the game is still pretty new, there has been no official news about the possibility of a sequel yet, although I don't see why there wouldn't be considering the success of the game. All in all, this game turned out to be much better than expected. It's very fluid and satisfying to play. It incorporates adventuring, puzzling and some RPG elements. The characters, gameplay and graphics are done to a very high standard. However, it's not perfect. The gameplay can get a little repetitive after a while, and because of the unique and childish nature of the game, it might not be for everyone, but I do really recommend playing it and giving it a try. So before I end this video, I just want to say thanks for listening. Be sure to check out the other videos on my channel. Again, if you have any tips or suggestions, just comment them down below. More game reviews will be out soon, and I hope to do another podcast whenever I have time. So I hope you have a good day, take care, mind yourself, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.